I think we're going to see more changes. I think this is just the beginning. I don't think we're ever going to see any more of those late night show use of, snow leopards and tiger cubs on
Good.
TV. Thank goodness anymore. Morning magazine shows like the Today Show or Good Morning America. And the other people aside from Jack Hanna, whether
Right.
it's Dave Salmoni or Boone Smith or Jared Miller or Grant Kemmerer. I just don't think that those folks are going to have a TV career after this.
No, I don't think so. And it's funny you mentioned that because it's just this weekend I was just scrolling, just random. I had just the TV in the background, and unfortunately, the Jack Hanna show is still airing every
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering is the studios that are distributing this have not caught on to what's going on with the conservation game, where they just don't even know what's going on with Jack Hanna, and it's they're continuing to air it. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that there are a lot of folks involved
Mm-hmm.
who are still operating under the too big to fail mentality.
Mm.
I think that, I see this with my kids all the time when they get caught in a lie and they double down
Sure.
instead of coming clean. And we
We've all
all know
we've all done it.
we've all done it, but we all know that if you come clean and if you are honest, that is so much. We're all forgiving. I
Nope.
think we're all like super forgiving by nature.
Yeah.
And I think we feel really heartened when somebody comes to us, whether it's my 7-year-old or whether it's, ABC Studio,
Yeah.
to say, you know what? Yeah, we messed up. We didn't do our
Sure.
due diligence and we want to be part of the solution.
Sure.
So we're going to be actively participating in major changes within our own industry, and that's our commitment.
Yeah.
Because the movie wasn't an attack on the the people who were interviewing Jack Hanna and all
Sure.
of these other folks.
No, I
Because
understand.
I believe that they were victims just like the rest of us were, because so many of them were
Oh.
asking the right questions.
Absolutely.
You have people like George Stephanopoulos and Fran Drescher asking, like, when do the eyes open? Where's this one's mama?
Yeah.
Where does this one come from? What's in store for this cat when they're done here? Like, they are having the same questions all of us were asking, and they
Yeah.
were just getting lied to like the rest of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Unless you're knee deep in investigating that type of world. I mean, most people don't realize it. That's why we have a lot of those photo op places all over the world, like including like Thailand or even here in the States where you can go and take a picture with any animal, but they don't realize that they're constantly breeding them, and they're, after 6 months, it's just, okay, out the door. Let's get another one and another one and another one. So I think if that is spoken out more in media, I think people will be more alert as to when they see certain things like that. For example, like the Tonight Show or the Good Morning Show, when certain ambassador animals come out, and now like us, you and I, when we see anything, we're like, oh, that's abusive to that animal. But most people don't see that. They just, oh, look at that cute little cheetah. They brought it on the show. I want to do that. I want. That's pretty much that's the response that we get, and a lot of it. I mean, we're seeing it now with social media as well. I mean, it's been going on for a while, but that's also another thing that needs to be regulated too. With people, propping their exotic animals on there, and that's not the right. It's not promoting the right ethical thing to do when we shouldn't be exploiting these exotic animals, and they need to be living in where in their natural habitats, not in a 400 square foot apartment.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And it's bad enough to see like the overt exploitation, whether it's the exotic pet trade, where it's very clear, even to the untrained eye, that that's a bad situation.
Right.
Like somebody having a tiger as a pet or a leopard, or using one of those animals for a birthday party, like we saw Grant Kemmerer doing, and he got in a lot of trouble for that. But it's even more offensive when somebody who has earned so much respect as a conservationist, like Jack Hanna, is talking to us about how we should think about endangered species, why we should be so concerned. And the animal that he's using to convey that message, he's just going to dump when he's done.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hypocritical, and it's so it just really strikes, I think, all of us on a visceral level as so gross.
Yeah. No,
to use a technical legal term.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And now the hard part, I think, is how do we change the minds of all those people that grew up with these type of shows? You know I've had a little bit of, I had Tim Harrison on our show recently, and he was talking about some of the issues of Steve Irwin, that what the practices that he used on his show, and how certain, even Australia didn't want to pick up his show because his practices were unfair. But you get this backlash from other people like, oh, well, he's my hero. Why are you talking bad? How are we going to convince people when this becomes more light? Of course, when the conservation game becomes available for streaming and people now realize, well, Jack Hanna, he was my hero. How can, I feel like it's, for some people that really grew up and love that character in person, it's going to be hard to kind of change their mind and really convince them that look at all these years that he was, who knows how many animals he just picked up and threw off the side of any roadside zoo.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the mindset of the individual.
Yeah.
Is the person open to learning? What is, or has the person been participating in viewing just for purposes of confirmation bias?
Sure.
Justify their own, whether it's getting a photo with a tiger, or justify their own mimicking behavior. That is really hard to cut through.
Yeah.
When somebody is really, they've turned on, they put on their blinders.
Yeah.
And they're not interested in the truth. They're only interested in information that helps reaffirm their whims and what they feel like their interests are. And we're seeing that all the time right now play out on social media in a lot of different issues.
Sure.
And so for the people though who truly do want to do the right thing, because at the end of the day, the polling that we've seen overwhelmingly shows that Americans do want to make sure that animals are protected from inhumane and cruel treatment. And they believe that animals deserve legal protection from cruel treatment, and that there should be consequences when people violate those standards. And so that's not supposition, like that's facts.
Yeah.
And I think that it's up to us to really lift the curtain back, so that it's very clear that there's no way to use these animals for any of these purposes, whether it's a selfie for a dating profile pic at a roadside zoo, or whether it is going to a fair and bottle feeding one of these animals. There's none of that. There's no exceptions to the rule. It's the rule, not the exception, that there's no humane way to engage in this and to help people make decisions that are consistent with their values. But there is going to be a segment of the population that's going to choose to not care, that's going to find reasons that they want to, that they should be able to continue to engage in this. And that's why the Big Cat Public Safety Act is so important, because then it gives us a legal mechanism to help squash the behavior of the people who don't care about doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely.